Hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy to virtually meet you through the online platform for this event, DevOps Summit. The topic that I'll be discussing today is about the AI revolution and its impact on ITOM, IT Operation Management. And I'm Rajalakshmi Srinivasan, known as Raji. And I've been working as a Director of Product Management at Zoho Corp, and I handle Site 24/7, which is the monitoring division of Zoho Corp, the monitoring product. So to give a short intro about myself, so I just started my career as a software developer at Zoho, and I've been in this industry from then on till today. It is 22 years in the industry. So two plus decades of experience in handling products and revolving a team around it, understanding the product development, analyze competition, and come up with ideas and execute it is what I've been doing all along. So I've worked with various other products too in the company, but for the past few years, this is my domain, the Site 24/7 and the monitoring section, the IT monitoring and application performance monitoring is what I handle. So that's a short intro of myself. So with that introduction, possibly we'll just get started. The topic is actually about artificial intelligence. So for the next 30 minutes, I'll be covering upon, this is the quick agenda that we'll be talking on. What is AI, ML, DL? I'm sure all of us know, but to set the context, I'll just talk about them and then go on to talk about the revolution, how it has evolved or how it has impacted various industries, and how does it impact ITOM, IT operations too, and how it helps IT operators in their day-to-day activities, to give some use cases, and in what are the various ways in which AI can be efficiently used in your IT monitoring, and about the future, what it holds. And that's how typically the session is going to be. So feel free, you can keep your questions coming. I'll be happy to answer them towards the end of the session. So about AI, ML, DL, the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning technologies per se, this is anything to do with automation. It's now revolving into the artificial intelligence too. But the important crux that we have to remember or keep in mind with respect to this artificial intelligence itself is, it is artificial intelligence. So it is only as good or as bad as the human who is behind it, he or she who does the programming on it. So it's only as efficient as it is being programmed, because it doesn't act on its own. We can see the definition too, it's just a book definition of it. So any technique that enables computers to mimic human behavior. So it cannot act on its own. The AI engine or the programs that are available, they cannot act. So we cannot run on its own. It has to be programmed. So it has to be tuned. So at any use case that we take, you say, or people say that, no, AI is not functioning properly, it's only because it is not programmed correctly. So this is something important that we have to keep in mind, because a lot of times we face this problem. I get a lot of false alerts. Your AI engine is not working. That's because somebody has not done it rightly. So if you're going to feed the system with garbage in, you will only get garbage out. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. Then what is machine learning? So machine learning techniques are the subset of the artificial intelligence technique, where you use some statistics and statistical methods and do apply a lot of algorithms on top of the data that we are collecting and make some meaningful sense out of it. So that's what the machine learning techniques that we use on top of the data that we have. Then the deep learning is even more a subset of it. So you just have to, where you use the multi-layer neural network capabilities possible, because this deals with petabytes of data. The humongous amount of data that is being processed to make accurate decisions is all possible using deep learning technologies. If I have to put it in a different way, machine learning is something like the one that is given here. So you have an input and you have to do feature extraction and then the classification. Suppose the input is an animal, which is a cat. Possibly the feature extraction could be there are 4 legs and 1 tail, 2 ears, whiskers. So based on those, the machine learning techniques will be able to identify this as a cat or no cat. But with deep learning, where you even store more data, every pixel of data is being stored, where you store the color of the eye, to the texture of the skin, to the length of the whiskers. So you store all those information pixel by pixel. You can actually identify the breed even, rather than just saying it is cat or not a cat. So that is the difference that brings in with respect to machine learning and deep learning. And this is applicable to any industry that we take around us. So if you have to talk about the revolution, the AI revolution itself, as I was saying, any industry you take around us where it has to deal with automation, the industry has transformed drastically because of all the automation, AI, machine learning techniques that are available. So to give some examples of industries that has undergone revolution, I'm just listing few of them. The education sector, it's a lot of online education and online training, online classes where you customize and learn. All those things have proven. Retail, that's the best example. Based on the customers' usage, whatever products you're buying, you get suggestions. Person who brought this also brought these. Those are all the techniques that are applied, the algorithms that are applied to make the life easy of people. That's in the retail industry. Manufacturing, healthcare, where you analyze all patients' information, the data that is available to bring out exactly what the problem is. AI is applied there too. Cybersecurity, this is something important where anything that you have on the cloud should be properly segregated and secured. So AI techniques are used there to detect any fraudulent things that are happening. If there are going to be any fraudulent payment, or wherever payment gateway is used, AI techniques can be used in transportations, in supply chain management, in constructions, business intelligence, IT itself, information technology. Everywhere, any other industry that you take, AI has had an impact. And our focus today will be on the IT, the ITOM, the IT operation management, how AI can help. So let's quickly look at how the AI and ML techniques can help IT operators. There are many ways it can help. I just listed few of them here. So the AI and ML could help by promoting feedbacks. Feedback is very important based on the data that is being collected. You have humongous data. You need to do processing and give feedback as to these configurations work, these configurations doesn't work. So those automations, and based on how we are programming them, the AI engine will be able to help the IT operators. Enabling communication. Chatbots have become very crucial today. Whatever platform you have, people are not willing to go to different tools to find out what on how the system is behaving. Give me the integration as a chatbot in whatever communication platform that I'm having. So that is possible using AI. That is another way how it can help. Manage a flurry of alerts. IT is to do with a lot of alert. You get huge number of alerts piled up. You may have to segregate them based on category, and you have to assign some technicians to it. So these are the learnings that the engine can take in, and those first level of automation of segregating the tickets and assigning the technician can be taken care by the AI engine. So that is one step ahead of solving the problem, that reduces your mean time to response. So AI can be helpful in that case. Data correlation across tools. People use a lot of tools, and you have data to be correlated across the various tools that you are using and make some meaning out of it, where again AI can be helpful. Evaluate past performance. This is based on the data that I'm having. Suppose I have 1 year's data, and I'm going to come up with a new year sale, or Halloween or Christmas sale that is coming up. Based on the historical data that is available, the engine will calculate the load that I foresee to be getting on my systems, and give the information as you need to add 5 more servers if you have to handle the load. Those forecastings are possible based on evaluating the past performance. That's again, AI can be helpful. Correlating the test results. in the cloud environment where you deploy your applications, there are various tests that you do. There is actual development testing, a pre-production testing, a staging testing, and then live production testing. You need to correlate the data among them. Wherever there is huge data that is available and you need to make some sense out of it, AI techniques can be used. And fine-tuning deployment strategies. As we saw, there are different deployments. You have a staging server, you have an actual production server, you have different deployments for your API, for your clients, for your data processing, whatever configurations that you're doing in one, and you may have different data centers across the globe. So whatever configuration you do in one deployment has to be automated and taken care in other deployments too. And that is again possible using AI. And the other important thing is self-training. Yeah, as I said in the very beginning, it's only as good as how it is trained. The more, if you are training it with more accurate data points, the results will also be that accurate. So all these the AI engine will also self-train itself, exhaustive training, so that you can prevent false alerts. So these are some ways in which AI and ML could be helpful. Let's quickly get into the impact. What is the impact, or how some use cases on how AI can help IT operators, and what's its impact on IT operation management itself. AI can help in decision making. How can an engine help in decision making is a question that we will have. Let's look at a use case. So there is something that is your system, there is a failure. Possibly your website is down or your application is down. We don't know what the problem is, but you are having a downtime. As human IT operator has to find out, a human being, a man or a woman, he or she has to find out what the problem is and take some decision as to what needs to be done. So the IT operator's decision making, the human's decision making itself is dependent on various parameters. Some quick things like what are the various places we will look into. First thing is the application code. Is there any problem in my application code? Or is there a problem in my server? Is the memory getting full? Is the CPU shooting up? Those could be the problem for my system to go down. Or if you have deployed it in a virtual environment, you have to look at the VM metrics. What are the metrics? Is my virtual machine functioning properly? Is the network data fine? The packets in, packets outs are functioning properly? Is every port functioning properly? There is a problem in one particular port in a switch, you're going to have a problem in your system. So the network data has to be analyzed. User access details. Is the problem happening for only one user, or is it happening for all the users across the globe? That is something that you have to look into. And the application logs to find out if there are any other problems in the system. If you have deployed it in the cloud configurations, have I done all the configurations correctly? That is something that the IT operator checks. You have everything working fine. Some external application in your system is causing the error. That's the event logs where this IT operator will go and look into. Geographical data. It's working fine for me. When somebody gives a complaint, we go and check. It's a cloud environment. It's working fine for me from one region. Is it working fine from across the globe, or is it specific for one group of users from one geography? That is something you have to look into. And even within one geography, is it something to do with the ISP configuration? If there are multiple ISPs and one ISP could be a problem, you need to have these data or look into these data to even tell your customers it's only because of this. The problem is at your end. It's not in our end. So to tell that, you need all these. To take that decision, you need all these parameters. I've just listed a few of them. Possibly the IT operator does a lot more debugging to come up with a decision making. Now, the question comes, how can AI help in all these things? So if the IT operator is using a tool to monitor all of this, and if they are making use of a tool where all these data is collected and being processed, then the AI engine in that tool will be able to learn all the users' actions, mimic users' action, and thus help in decision making. That's how it can help. If you're going to have all these data in bits and pieces in multiple places, possibly you go and do it manually in different places, it might be difficult for the AI engine. So the AI can help in smart operations, giving predictive analysis, contextual knowledge from all these layers, and take do some automatic threshold configuration, and thus it can help in decision making. And that's one of the use cases, the impact that it can have on IT operation management. The second use case, I've just taken few use cases. AI can help in with forecasting. We saw this earlier too. Depending on the previous data that is being there, it can project and tell what the problem will be or what the capacity is going to be. In capacity planning, this is really very helpful. You have some system where you have your disk usage, and depending on the disk usage for the previous 7 days, it can tell you what is the projection for the next 7 days. Based on previous 30 days, it can tell you what is the projection for the next 30 days, which means you will know beforehand, before even an event occurs, it will tell you in 30 days, in so many days, your disk is going to be full. Take care. So that is something possible using AI that is helping in forecasting. And then about dynamic thresholding, IT itself or any monitoring tool itself is to do with applying thresholds. And what is applicable for one person may not be applicable for another person, because every application is different, every use case is different. And if there is going to be smartness there where you need not go and configure everything, leave it to the system. Suppose there are, and across within the same application, for various transactions, you may have to configure it differently. That such use cases have come up. That is how the typical environment is. There are some key transactions. Payment transaction cannot take more than 2 seconds. Possibly there is other transactions that can take more time. So those are the configurations that you have to give. And if it is going to be done dynamically, the AI engine is able to do that dynamically, then that is the smartness that you can add, and you can add to the system and pass on that benefit to your customers. And that is something that AI can help. Instead of doing a static threshold where user configures it, you can allow the system to auto configure and make sure that it is actually capturing. When there is a deviation, the engine will be able to tell the anomaly and say there is a deviation. So I have created this alert. So that is possible using AI. And the other thing is corrective action. We saw about how it can do with the decision making, and can it help in doing some corrective action? Yes, that is possible. And let's look at some use case. Again, IT operators use case. You see that, suppose you see that your system's server performance is slow. We always have this 5 why techniques. Keep asking why. Why is it happening? Why is it happening? Why is it happening? So go deeper, deeper, deeper. The fifth why, you will be able to find the actual root cause. So your server performance is slow. Now you have to know why your server performance is slow. The reason could be your disk usage is high. You are having a higher disk usage. Oh, that is the reason for my server to perform slow. Okay, all right. Now, why is the reason, or what is the reason my disk is getting full? I have enough usages. What do I have to do? My disk is getting full. You go and find out the root cause. When you do the root cause analysis, you see that there are huge logs that are piling up in the system. Oh, okay, huge logs are piling up. So immediately the IT operator, what they have to do, they have to, in typical cases, they just go clear the logs, restart the system so that your system's performance is becoming all right. That's what typically we do. So that's the corrective action. Telnet to the system or take remote control of the system and then clear the logs. Now, there are two ways of doing this, taking remote control of the system and clearing the logs. First way is you can take remote control of the system, go to the system as such, and then do all the clearance yourself. The second option is doing all this from the web console of the monitoring tool that you are using. Only if you are able to do it from the web console of the monitoring tool that you are using, the AI engine will be able to learn those actions, user actions, and it can also do that or it can also do that work in the future. So that is what I mean by training the system or doing it via the system, taking remote control of the system through the tool that you are using instead of doing it directly. And once we do this, your server performance will be back to normal. But having said all this, even today, in the production setup, we have not reached a stage where we allow an AI engine to restart a system or clear the logs. We are still not there. That is only the futuristic direction. There is still some manual intervention that is there. but we see this as a futuristic direction. Futuristic direction is where the AI can learn all these user actions, train the AI system, take corrective action automatically, even before alerting the operator in the middle of the night. Today, the systems send alerts, but tomorrow down the line, these things can be done. The system will be confident enough to do that. It just needs that training, and we are in the middle of that path, is what I would say. We are still not there, I would say. Possibly few actions can be taken, like a particular process can be started, stopped, we can do, but not the entire system. Anything that is destructive in the production environment still needs manual intervention, and we have to accept that. We cannot just say AI will do everything. We can only use it wherever possible, to the best of how it can be used in the best possible ways. Not blindly in all places, just go and do automation. That's not how it has to be done. So that is the use case of corrective action. And conversational chatbots, I think we have seen this already. Any tool, the AI engine should be able to integrate with any chat application and provide meaningful conversation insights using chatbots. I'll just give one example. I'm just giving an example from Site 24/7. It can be any product too. You can integrate with any chat application. If you are using Microsoft Teams, from your Teams portal, you must be able to ask, what's the status of all my monitors? You will get all of them in your portal itself. Instead of going to another tool, from your conversation using the chatbot option, you can see it from your chat itself. There are a lot of other things that can be done. You can ask for the availability of a monitor, what is the uptime, what is the downtime, what is the total time it was up and down, things like that. You can ask for an RCA and create it as a ticket in another ticketing system. All these are automations that help in brings the smartness in the system and makes it easy for IT operators to do their day-to-day operations. You can pick up an alert and you can do all these things. The future of AI ops, we have to see the road ahead is for more and more accurate anomalies to reduce the noise. That's what the systems are aiming at. More forecasting and smarter automation, so that we are moving towards a system where we do proactive rather than do any reactive. So now today what we are doing is, there is a problem. What do I do to fix it? From that mode, the industry is moving towards, how can I be proactive and prevent from something happening? So that's the mode that the AI can help us move towards. And there are there are reports that back up these stats too. The future of AI technologies by 2023, there is a Gartner survey that says that 75% of organizations will use the deep neural network technologies in place of machine learning, so that you can make accurate predictions. And that's going to be the cloud-based AI will increase. It's not anymore on-premise. The cloud-based AI will increase, making AI as one of the top cloud services. AI as a service, machine learning as a service is something that is picking up. That's going to be a future. You have the data, make use of machine learning as a service so that you can make meaning out of it. That's going to increase 5x in the future. And 40% of large enterprises will use AI augmented automation as something that is predicted. It's what's going to be. So I've almost come to the end of the presentation. So we have talked so much about AI, and all this can be applicable using tools in your IT environment. If you have to take the IT operation management, there are tools that help in managing your IT infrastructure, from your websites to applications to cloud to your entire infrastructure monitoring. In this, whatever tool that you are using, AI can help in making your day-to-day life easier. So Site 24/7 is one such tool. There are many tools in the market. Site 24/7 is an all-in-one AI-powered monitoring platform that lets you take care of all your monitoring needs from one single console. We do have alerting, reporting, and anomaly detection, and AI-based reporting on top of all the monitorings that we collect. And Site 24/7 is a mature product in the market that is there for the past 15 years. And we are from Zoho. So Zoho has been in the industry for 25 years, where we invest heavily on R&D. We have a separate AI unit. We call it as labs unit, where the breadth of AI works that happen at Zoho. So on all these areas, our team is dedicatedly working, and we use it internally, all the training we do for 2 years, so that there are no false alert. And after that is when we take it to customers. And we do use some of the techniques from this, the forecasting, the outage prediction, anomalous behavior, decision making, or some of the AI usage by Site 24/7 of the breadth of technologies or breadth of work that is being done at Zoho. We are hosted on Zoho's cloud. We have data centers across the globe, 10 different data centers across 5 different regions, a primary and secondary in each of the region. Customers can select the data center of their choice so that their data resides within the geographical boundary of that particular region. Being a cloud provider, we do take privacy, security, compliance very seriously and get all the certifications that are required, so that we make sure that we have the users' data safe and secure. The key takeaways from this session, I think I've almost it's almost 30 minutes that I've taken. So the key takeaways are AI and its revolution, and how the impact on various industries, and how it could help IT operators. What are the various ways it can help in their day-to-day activities, so that they become smarter and pass on that benefit to their customers. The impact on the AI's impact on IT operation management, we saw with use cases and futuristic prediction, and how Site 24/7 is an all-in-one AI-powered monitoring tool. So just take a screen grab of this, and we are also having a virtual presence here in this event. And if you sign up using this URL, you get 6 months free subscription for the product. You can try the product for yourself and see. So I just finish off with this quote. There is this is called as the Red Queen's quote. It is from the book Alice in Wonderland. The quote goes like this: "You have to be running as fast as you can in order to stay in the same place. And if you want to make any progress, you have to run twice as fast as you can." Why I'm bringing this here is AI, or any technology that you take for that matter, it is the IT itself is evolving in such a space, such a pace. If you don't keep yourself updated, you will feel outdated. We apply this in our products too, and try to bring in all the latest technologies into our product, so that we are able to pass this benefit to the customers too. And it is very relevant for our day-to-day, as an individual too. We have to keep ourselves updated, right? So thank you for your time. Have a nice day in the event, and you can reach out to me, write to me, or write to the support email ID that is available here for any product related demos or any other clarifications that you have. Thank you. Have a nice day.